What's up, everyone? I am pumped to be here for a magic discussion. We're here to discuss shaping the future of media and entertainment with our friends here from CIRKAY who created the Fan Pass. Before we get started, my name is Hattem and I lead partnerships at Magic, and I will also be leading this conversation with our very special guest today. I'm personally excited to talk about the music and creator industry, specifically how it's being disrupted. And, prior to being at Magic, the bulk of my career has been in building companies to really do just that. And so now I'm so excited to be able to watch other builders continue to build the journey and make this innovation and technology more accessible and really help build relationships between artists and creators. And so today we are really going to talk about innovation that solves the fracture between creators and their fans. And so without further ado, I know who you are, but can the two guests, maybe starting off with Jenn, introduce themselves?
Yes, of course. I'm Jenn Morgan and I'm Business Development Director at CIRKAY.
And I'm Simon Scott. I'm the founder and CXO at CIRKAY.
That is wonderful. And so before we dive into FanPass, it's very important to know how we got here. And so, Simon, we use the word CIRKAY, but I also know Push Entertainment. Can I get an overview of either Push and or CIRKAY, and over the years, the challenges that you saw and that you continue to see in the creator economy?
Yeah, okay, thanks. So Push Entertainment works in the entertainment industry, as its name suggests. Our predominant area of expertise would be the music industry. And within the music industry, we focus really on the major record companies. So we've been around for 20 years and we've provided a range of fan engagement technologies over that time to the likes of Universal Music, Sony, Warner Music, EMI and BMG when there was an EMI and BMG. And right in the early days, the very first product that we made available to people was a product called Digital Insert. A digital insert was a piece of technology that could tell if a CD was genuine or not. And if a CD was genuine, then we captured the data of the CD user and we passed that to the record company for their mailing lists. And that was kind of like, and since that point, we've seen various waves. We've seen the streaming wave, we've seen the mobile wave, we've seen the social media wave, and then we kind of started to see the Web3 wave. And that was when our thoughts and everything that we're working on FanPass came into light. And our real focus is really, how do these things make money?
Yeah,
I feel how do they make money for our partners? And I know that, and you've got to make money in two ways. You've got to make money, and you've got to stop people losing money. I.e., you need an innovative service that is very resilient and reliable, and that's kind of been our focus basically.
And when you say make money for our partners, who are the partners that you're talking about?
The rights owners, the record companies, the managers, the publishers, the e-commerce companies, anyone who's got rights who's trying to exploit that online.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, even when we spoke to the team at Even, there's always this push-pull of where is this money ultimately coming from? And, since the advent of these various social media platforms and streaming platforms, it sort of seems like there's a little bit of a race to the bottom when it comes to actually making money as an artist. And what I found really interesting, and I'd love to just read off my screen right here, is on a recent blog, Simon, you wrote that with a few exceptions, those who excel in big data analytics now wield more influence than those with genuine talent. Consequently, social platforms driven by metrics like likes, shares, and follows will naturally prioritize quantity over quality. This has led the entertainment industry to have a tendency to prioritize gatekeeper strategies at the expense of fan-centric approaches. I'm reading this as essentially the enemy that you're going after is the attention economy. And why is it so important for you to come up with a solution that helps
Right.
change these dynamics?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good read. I think the main problem with the attention economy is it encourages people to be lazy. Yeah. And when people are lazy, they'll take the lowest common denominator. They'll accept the thing that is just put in front of them. And if you're a entertainment company and you've got a gatekeeper strategy, are you going to put the stuff that's most innovative in front of people, or are you going to put the stuff that's least resistant to deliver? Yeah, easiest to manipulate. Yeah, most malleable in terms of promotion. You're going to do all of that. Yeah, and when you get that sort of stuff going on, and then you've got a lazy consumer, and that's a lean back, doom scrolling consumer. Yeah, when those two things collide, no one really wins. Yeah, it's just not really very good. It's just not a very good thing, So one thing that unites us and, with Jenn and myself is we're just like fans and we like discovering stuff. So we realised that the natural flow of technology would mean that creative people with a lot of talent would want to take control. Yeah, and then when they've got the technology that means that they control, then ultimately for us, the next 20 years, 10 years is not going to be about the big platforms. It's going to be about that proper direct connection, really. And that's where, the NFT and the Web3 wallet and all of that stuff kind of comes into play.
And Jenn, when you think of a perfect world between creators and fans have a equal dynamic with one another and money is flowing freely, what does that future look like? And maybe we don't give away too many secrets in terms of what FanPass looks like, but how do we create a better dynamic between artists making money and fans who want to support those artists?
I think following on from what Simon said there, in the current status that we have a lot of expectation on artists to continuously produce for their fan bases in order to grab that attention and in order to remain at the front of people's minds. And in the new way that we hope will kind of push forward and become the new norm is that once artists and fans have that direct connection, an artist can focus on their art rather than on maintaining that connection, specifically through just constant content production, taking it back into an art form rather than into a straight marketing play.
I'm just all we're really trying to do is to do what should happen normally. So I know that sounds a bit strange, but you have to remember that all of this didn't start in sort of like 2005. When did Facebook come out? 2005. This whole concept of social media and streaming and all of that didn't. The internet started in 1995, and before the year 2000, there were many bands and artists that we were working with had direct-to-fan artist mailing lists that were step functions bigger than what they are at the moment. 5-10 times bigger than they are at the moment. And the only reason why that wasn't the natural course of events, and this gets to why FanPass, why Magic, why all that sort of stuff, yeah? The reason why that didn't progress is because the identity rails and the payment rails didn't exist in 2000. Everyone was worried about, does that browser have a padlock on it? Can I put my credit card contact details online? And then that's, have I got the rights to go and do that? Who's stealing my music? Yeah. And in the middle of all of that uncertainty came a couple of entities, you had a social media companies that realized they were going to use the celebrities of the day. This is pre-influencers. There was no influencers in those days. God, how do we get people to come to this thing called Facebook? I know we'll go and get the rock stars and the pop stars and the artists to go and have a presence on Facebook. Or well, if we go and license the money from the record companies, then the record companies are going to be happy because they're making some money when they're concerned that everything's been stolen. Yeah. And the artists realise that they've got no one to talk to and they've got a big presence. And the thing just snowballed from there. But that's not the natural state of affairs.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
interesting.
It's just not the natural state of affairs. The natural state of affairs is, you know, I don't know, people just putting something out there and seeing if people like it and putting money into a hat if they like it. That's the natural state of affairs.
And I think that's a great transition too, because, you know, it really seems like if you break all of this down, what's missing from the creator industry right now is more of a direct relationship between creatives and their fans, and also a way to monetize those fans while giving them something special in return. Is that really the thesis of what we're looking to accomplish here?
I think yes, and the idea that you're monetizing the fans and giving them something special, really what you're doing is a creator is creating something that they need to make a living out of and should making a living out of, and a fan paying for that should be a part of the natural order. And it is in basically any other industry, a consumer pays for the thing that they consume, but we've lost that idea within the music industry. And so bringing that back in where a fan pays for the value that an artist provides is what we're looking at as well.
Yeah. And so I think I'm actually loving these transitions. Now is where we can really dive into FanPass. And so from my understanding, FanPass is a digital key which allows artists, brands, creators to easily create and manage their own FanPass to allow fans the ability to unlock exclusive benefits and rewards on your store or on their store. And so let's really break that down. Yeah, Simon, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, okay. Well, sort of connection. So that you got so language gets messed up. Yeah, people, the word discovery is messed up. Yeah, discovery is not sitting there doom scrolling while people suggest things to you. That's not discovery. Yeah, discovery is, that has prompted this thought in my brain. Where does that take me to go and find something else? Yeah, so there's a lot of language gets messed up, really. So the starting point is connection. If I care about something, I should want to pay a small amount of money to be connected to it. Yeah, whether I regard that as helping them along their way, getting the news early, maybe being one who gets treated a little bit specially if I'm buying something from their store, or if I'm going to go and see them online at a concert, or maybe I'm going to be able to go and do a private chat that no one else can do. So the starting point of it all is, can we monetize that connection? Because our thesis would be, and our initial thoughts are probably monetizing a connection is probably worth somewhere between $5 and $10 a year. And our thesis would be, if someone won't pay $5 or $10 a year, are they a fan?
Yeah. That's
you know what I mean? Are they
very interesting?
Are they a fan? They're probably not. So on the one hand, you've got people who will go and spend 5 to 10,000 boosting the algorithm on Instagram or on TikTok to go and try and get plays on Spotify to go and boost the artist's career. To give you some sort of idea, a $10,000 spend boosting Instagram or TikTok, you got to get about 1 million plays for the artist to make that money back.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
It just doesn't make. Well, I'm sure as I'm big fans of the Even guys that you were with last week, and that's kind of like, they understand that.
Yeah,
they understand
100%. Yeah, and so I want to break down the FanPass a little bit more. And for those who haven't heard the word NFT so far during this conversation, hint: FanPass has something to do with that, and there's a reason why we don't talk about it, which we'll get into later. But let's really break this down. Let's educate people in maybe like 30 seconds or less. If I'm a brand or an artist or a creator, why do I need FanPass?
You want to be connected to your fans. You want to be connected to your fans in multiple places, because fans are in multiple places. In order to do that, you effectively need a digital identity key that those fans can have, and you need the ability to put a lock in any of those other places. Once you've got that, you've got a connection. And if you can provide that connection as cheaply as possible, the lift on either side to create demand, to fulfill the demand, becomes really, really low, and you can just focus on treating people with respect.
I love
and
that.
That's what we're really trying to achieve. Just that link. We just want to go the link. GDPR, anonymous, compliant identity link. That's the focus. I love really. That.
Jenn, anything quick that you want to jump on there before I move on to my next question?
Not really. I think that sums it up in the idea that a lock and a key, whenever this gets too complicated, or it seems like it's getting too complicated, always take it back to that idea. It's one key and multiple locks.
Okay, so I'd love to dive into the benefits and the features, because I think they're incredibly clear, but I also think there's an opportunity to elaborate on them even further. So, the top three that you talk about are: you can create an identity for your fans, you can easily manage multiple promotions, and you can boost your revenue. Simon, do you mind just diving into what it means to create an identity for your fans?
Basically, if you think about the nature of fandom, and we all become fans of things, and we talk about our fandom to people when that comes up in conversation, but we've got no real way to demonstrate that. If you're a Fatboy Slim fan, or if you're a Neil Young fan, or if you're a Who fan, or if you're a Ariana Grande fan, there's nothing that means that you can go, I'm a fan of these things. There's nothing you can get on your phone. There's nothing you can do. You can join the fan club. Maybe some of them have a fan club. Those are maybe like, $10 a month, maybe more than that. That's a bit of a lift. Not many people want to do that. So we thought the first way was just a cheap and easy way where people could associate themselves with an artist by going, I've got an identity. But then we decided to make that identity usable and redeemable, really. So that, if you like, in Jenn's parlance earlier, that's the key. And then, maybe, Jenn, the sorts of things we envisage being the locks would be.
So in terms of the places where those locks could be, that could be on the creator's store itself, encouraging discounts, locked products and locked content. That could be on their site. Again, access to content pages and the like. Then branching out into socials, for example, a Discord unlock to have a gated channel. And beyond there, you could even look into the opportunities for ticket pre-sales, for example.
That's awesome. And Simon, I want to jump back to you. When people think about building on top of a blockchain, they get totally thrown off. They don't want to touch it. There's a million reasons why they're nervous about it. But interestingly enough, setting up FanPass, whether you're a creator or if you're a fan, is extremely easy. And I think it starts off with Shopify, where you've essentially built an app on top of Shopify versus creating a totally net new application. Why did you decide to build on top of Shopify?
Well, there's 4 million consumers who've got stores on Shopify, and that seemed a good place to start. That aside, it's actually what you're seeing now is the second time we built it. We built it once and we threw it away. So we spent about a year building this, and then we said we haven't really made. Well, some of our original test clients told us, it's too blockchainy. Too much resistance, doesn't make sense. So really, that was really at the point when Jenn came in and brought a total non-blockchain perspective to it and was like driving us hard on what we were doing and what we were not doing. And when we started to select Magic, really, But we chose Shopify because we felt that the one area where people do feel comfortable making money from their fans is in selling t-shirts.
Yep.
So that's kind of like the first place where everyone goes, oh, I want to make more money from people, I'll sell them a t-shirt. If they're a charity, whatever it is, it's kind of what they want to do. So we thought, okay, if we can make this thing saleable on the same place where people get their t-shirts, then we've got a chance of being presented alongside something that they know. The benefit that brings to us is that Shopify is a billing platform. It enables us to get money from people. It enables us to have a rate card that we can publish. People can pay for it monthly. It's got a good self-serve framework that we can basically build to. So that was why we did version 1 on Shopify.
I love that. And now I'd want to get into the tough questions. Let's dive into the blockchain. What are the main benefits to putting FanPass on a blockchain?
Interoperability. So I need to sort of like step back a little bit and look at some of the things that we thought were going to be important. So we sort of decided that if businesses of the last 20 years were to do with collecting and processing PII, then businesses of the next 20 years are not going to be about that. Because the sine wave tends to go like that. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah. Legislation, GDPR legislation would tell you everything that's going on with tracking pixels on the iPhone, with Apple and everything, and Facebook would tell you that. The rising cost of advertising would tell you that. So we said, okay, if we're going to build a business where we're not going to store anyone's PII, and we don't know anyone who's got a FanPass, let's put that out there, we don't know, then the best way to do that is it needs to be transparent. And, we need a transparent database, and the blockchain is a transparent database.
And what's exactly on-chain when it comes to the FanPass application?
The FanPass is on-chain. The FanPass is a Polygon NFT, non-tradable token.
No speculation.
Yeah. No speculation, no transferability, no tradability.
No BS.
None of that.
So it's a authenticator in a sense. It's an authenticator. It's a digital certificate. That's what it is. And I think that's really important to dive into, and why, again, I'm so happy to have your team on here, because I've said this before, people are probably sick of me saying it. Explaining blockchain and NFTs to people is the hardest thing that I've had to do in my career. And I love showing off use cases where it has nothing to do with speculation or financialization. It can really just be used as a certificate to know what people own, and in this case, give them access to something. To me, that makes sense.
It's a key. I think
it's a key.
The way that I also explain to people is that there are people who are interested in cars, and they'll want to know everything they can know about an engine, how fast that car can go, who built the engine, all of those different bits. But there are so many more people who just want to know they have a car that can get them from A to B. And the way that I see this Web3 technology powering FanPass is that it is what is supporting FanPass, and it's allowing it to do what it does, but you don't need to know that to be able to enjoy the benefits of what that FanPass is unlocking for you.
That is wonderful. And now I've really got to ask the $1 million question is, Simon, you've been working with Magic for quite some time. Why did you ultimately go with Magic, and what benefits do we offer to you and your ecosystem?
Yeah, well, we were put onto Magic by a client that we were working with it on. So we were the same client that said to us on our earlier solution, no, that's not very good. And we, and in your heart of hearts, when you know something isn't good, you just need someone who cares about you to tell you, and they cared about us enough to tell us. And at the same time, they were looking at yourself and a few of your competitors. And when you've got people that you trust that go, yeah, we think these are the guys who've got it sussed, And so we kind of gave your toolkit and everything you've got over to our development team. So they come out of like, an abusive relationship with a blockchain company. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I shouldn't be laughing.
No, but you understand where like everything was really complicated, yeah, and everything was unnecessarily engineered, and so much time was spent on the blockchain bit to be in a situation where we could go from Jenn working with our UI guy, deciding exactly how they wanted it to be, and we could make decisions which bits of your technology we wanted to use. That was a revelation. And what's really interesting is because, for those of you who aren't familiar with Magic, you kind of got an out-the-box solution, and you've got the APIs and the toolkit that you can work to, and you can transition between the two as and when you want to use it. So for us, it meant that, we can get, we've got the product we've got out there from a Magic perspective is like MVP. Everything that we do on the login from Magic for FanPass is just out of the box. But we already know where we're going to take it in, version 1.1 or version 2. So to have that growth path, so that was the first thing. And then the business model was pay as you go.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we didn't have to sort of like, it just wasn't a big lift for us anyway.
I love that. Well, thank you for the vote of confidence. And now I'd really like to dive into the use case. Everyone says blockchain doesn't have a use case. Well, actually, your team built something really interesting, and you've got people using it. And so can you talk about Gals Who Read and a little bit of background there and how they're using FanPass?
Yeah. So Girls Who Read is a Facebook community that is just under 350,000 women and non-binary people who all love to read and all recommending books to one another, talking about their bookshelves, what's coming up. And their community owner wanted to work out a way to monetize that community and provide them with more value. So we worked with them to establish a value proposition for that group of people that would allow them to have a regular update on all of the activity that's going on in that Facebook group. Because as you can imagine, having 350,000 people all talking within a Facebook group is very noisy, and so you can't keep up. So building out from that information point, which we spoke about earlier, that first point of being a fan, of wanting that information and wanting that delivered to you and feeling special getting it. So we started out there and then thought, how can we use the interoperable and anonymous side of FanPass to be able to build that out into an even better offering? And so what we did was we worked with a book publisher, Hattem, to allow locks to be put onto their imprint D2C stores that allowed FanPass holders to go and unlock access to special benefits there. So that meant that community could go from Gals Who Read through to Hachette stores to unlock discounts on books, book recommendations, author content, adding even more value back to that community.
That is so special. And, I've been sharing Gals Who Read with the entire company here, and everyone is super pumped about it. And, best of all, the experience, it's seamless. And, the whole beauty of Magic and what our clients are doing is abstracting away the blockchain so we can just give people a usable experience. And I think it's hysterical because, I downloaded I think I may have said this on the last podcast, but I'll say it again. I downloaded an app the other day on Instagram, or an app the other day on my iPhone, and it was a Web 2 quote unquote app. And I just realized, like, if this was a Web 3 blockchain app, there would be so much jargon and words that wouldn't make sense. And all I'd want to know is, like, what can I actually do with this? And what I love so much about FanPass is you just get rid of all of that jargon and you say, we've got a key that can unlock benefits, that can drive revenue for creators. It can give fans exclusive access. It can build a direct relationship. That to me seems like a win-win. And so I am really pumped that FanPass has done what your team has done. I'm thrilled that you're a client of Magic. I'm extremely grateful to have a relationship with both of you. And I just want to thank you for joining on and sharing your words of wisdom.
Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, it's been a good journey. Long way to go. You know, I think that,
sure.
you know, I kind of feel like Web3 is making a bit of a comeback.
I like it.
Would be my prediction, you know.
We're going to make a comeback when people don't even know it's Web3. That's my prediction.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
And that's
right,
what
exactly
you've
right.
done.
Yeah. I think they're kind of realizing that Web3 is not cryptocurrency. I think that's what's happened. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what's happened, really.
So, again, I appreciate you both very much, and I appreciate our friendship. Enjoy the rest of your
week. Thank you, Dylan. Yeah, much appreciated. Thanks.
Thank
Cheers. You. Bye.